And that's in Sahih al-Bukhari. Now, the scholars of the Maliki school exclude a woman of high standing from the obligation of domestic chores. And if her husband can afford it, then he's obliged to hire domestic help. And so the Malikis interpreted the thing about Aisha radiallahu anhu, that Ali was not able to afford domestic help. But if he was, then he would have had to have done it. And the husband has no right to force a woman to work outside of the home or to do work that is usually associated with a craft or a profession, because it's wage work. Just, in noting this, the man should nonetheless help the wife in the house, even if he's working outside. And that was the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And the Prophet used to do dishes. He sewed his own clothes. He sewed his sandals, ﷺ. He kneaded bread. He did things in the house. So that's important to remember, that you're doing it. It's a sunnah. And I was with a friend of Sheikh Abdullah al-Qadi's in the Emirates, and this little boy came in and he started playing with him, and he was saying, he'd make animal sounds, and then he'd ask the little boy, what animal is that? And the boy would say, and he was playing with him. And then when the boy left, he finished, he said, the Prophet ﷺ, he used to play with children, and I love to make the intention of fulfilling that sunnah before I do that. So he was actually fulfilling a sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ in doing that. And that's why if you're in your house and you do that, and tahtasib 'inda Allah, that you just consider a reward with Allah, it's not a waste of time. Because there are people who say, it's a waste of time, or I don't have time. Well, what about her? I mean, her time's as precious as your time in the world. So the idea, and Aisha radiallahu anha, when she said, they asked him, how was the Prophet ﷺ in the house? She said, kana fi mihnati ahli. He was in the mihna of his family. And it's a beautiful word, because she didn't say kana fi khidmati ahlihi. She said kana fi mihnati ahlihi. And mihna, the word comes from that which is servile or degrading. And the Prophet ﷺ would never do anything servile or degrading. But the point I think that she was emphasizing was that chores that you people might consider to be maheen, to be low things, he didn't elevate himself above them. And the idea is that any halal work is not degrading. If it's halal, it's not degrading, even if it's what we would call a menial task. The fact that the best of creation did it, including carrying wood, milking a goat, he did all of those things. So anybody that does those things is not degraded by doing those things, by the mere fact that the best of Allah's creation, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, did those things. Qadi Abu Bakr said that the best things that a man can serve himself in are those things that relate to his own ibadah, like getting your own wudu water, those type things, preparing the ghusl. I mean, obviously in pre-modern times that was much, much more common in the world than it is now. But there are still a lot of places. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam rose in the night and he would go to the water skin, untie it, and get his own wudu water. Even though he had servants in the house. I mean, there were servants in the house. The Prophet ﷺ had servants. So the fact that he did that is a sign. That's in Sahih Muslim. And that's in Sahih al-Bukhari. Now, the scholars of the Maliki school